Hey, how's it going everyone? Zach D Productions here, and I'm here for a trilogy review for you guys. So for this review, I'll be reviewing the Equalizer trilogy with Denzel Washington. Denzel Washington is often considered one of the all-time greats, and yeah, definitely a great actor, and I don't think anyone would disagree with that. So when it comes to the Equalizer films, there's only been 3 of them with Denzel. There's not going to be a 4th one, I don't think. I know when the 3rd one was coming out, they said that it was going to be the final chapter. So I don't think they plan on making any more of these movies with Denzel Washington. Which I am fine with personally, because it's like, why take that chance of releasing a 4th movie and it end up not being very good, if that makes sense. So I'm fine with this trilogy the way it is. I mean, yes, I do think when it comes to this trilogy, there's movies that are better than others. And that's the case with any franchise or any movie trilogy. So let's go ahead and get into this. So let's go ahead and start off with The Equalizer from 2014, the first Equalizer film with Denzel. Very strong movie. I do dig this movie. I've always really liked this movie ever since I first watched it. And honestly, I do think that the first Equalizer movie is the best of the Equalizer trilogy. And I think a lot of people would agree with that the first one is the best. Great movie for sure. It features a great storyline, and the acting from Denzel, very solid as well. I think it's very well directed as well. And I like that this movie... I like that Denzel's character basically has to defend the weak and vulnerable when he finds out that this one girl's going through like this abusive situation, and Denzel's character takes matters into his own hands. And you really find out how this character can be, and just how brutal this character can be. And it's pretty awesome for sure. And the action scenes themselves are pretty cool, especially towards the end when, with the final showdown, when he's taken out all those guys that enter the hardware store and everything. Just very cool stuff. Again, Denzel's performance is really great in this movie. And of course, movies like this where, you know, you basically have the lead character defending the vulnerable and the innocent. I mean, movies like that, you know, that's something that a lot of people can really get behind, you know, because, well, even in real life, you know, we need more people like this. People that are willing to take a stand. I mean, obviously not to the extent of the Equalizer. I mean, that'd be quite drastic. But you know what I'm saying? Like, just people that are willing to take a stand and, you know, not backing down from bad people, you know? And that's what Denzel's character does, particularly when he's defending this girl and, you know, he helps her out and everything. So, yeah, it's a good movie for sure. Really good movie. So, The Equalizer from 2014, I think it's solid. And again, I think it's the best of the Equalizer movies with Denzel Washington. And then we move on to The Equalizer II, which released in 2018. A step down from the first one for sure, but you know what? I still think the movie's decent. It's still a decent movie. It still has some good things going for it. I think the best thing about this movie is the action scenes, especially when you get to the end, when they're all fighting in that storm and everything. I just think that's really cool. And the way that Denzel's character gets these guys, it's just really cool stuff. And in this movie, you do have this one character. He's a younger guy that Denzel kind of tries to mentor a little bit. And by the end of the movie, he ends up being taken by these guys. And, of course, Denzel has to save him. So, all in all, it does have some good action for sure. But that's probably the best thing about it. And, of course, Denzel's performance is pretty strong in this movie, as his performance is strong in most of the movies that he's done. But yeah, I think it's good, but I wouldn't call it great or amazing or anything. It's just, to me, I would say it is the weakest of the Equalizer trilogy, but still not bad. It's still pretty good for what it is. So Equalizer 2, Good movie, but just not a great movie. And again, it is kind of a step down from the first movie, but still not bad. But then we get to the Equalizer III, which released in 2023. A bit of a step up from the second film, in my opinion, but not by much. Again, the first film, I would still say is the best, but the third film, I think it's still pretty good for what it is. Like with the second film, I think this film definitely has some good action, especially that introduction scene where it leads to Denzel basically sitting in the chair, and, you know, just how quickly that scene escalates when he's taking out all those guys and everything. It's really crazy, for sure. Definitely one of the most brutal scenes, not just in this movie, but in any of the Equalizer movies. Just really solid stuff. Now, it's not a perfect movie by any means. I mean, one thing that I will say is, after that introduction action scene in this movie, it kind of does slow things down a bit. I think the pace after that is a bit slow, and they really could have tightened up the pace and kind of sped that up a little. Maybe trim some scenes out of there, like, you know, maybe just cut some stuff. Like, it just seems like there's some scenes in this movie that really overstayed its welcome, I would say. But I think the movie is still pretty solid. I mean, in this movie, you have Denzel's character moving to Italy, which is pretty interesting. Pretty interesting setting, for sure. And his character discovers that this is where he wants to stay. And, yeah, like, he wants to live this new life here. So, you find out as well that there's this this agent that's been kind of working with Denzel, which is Dakota Fanning's character, which she is in the movie. And again, the action, I think it's pretty good. Pretty good action. Now, when it comes to the ending, like the final showdown and everything, I have to say that when it comes to the final showdown, it does leave a lot to be desired, in my opinion. I felt like they could have done a lot more. I mean, I dig the finale for what it is, the final showdown, or whatever you want to call it. I mean, all three of these movies have it, but I feel like with this one definitely leaves a lot to be desired. I'm not sure what they could have done differently, but it is what it is. But of course, the action scenes themselves are pretty solid, and Denzel's performance is very solid as well. So, the Equalizer 3, good movie, but like with the second film, I wouldn't call it great or amazing or anything. I'd say it's just good. So, the Equalizer 3, I'd say it's pretty good. So, that is my review for the Equalizer trilogy with Denzel Washington. Overall, pretty solid trilogy. The first one, I think, is really the only one that I would consider great. The other ones, I would just say, are good, but not great or amazing or anything. So, that's kind of my take on it, though. But all in all, pretty solid trilogy overall. And if you like Denzel Washington, definitely check out this trilogy. So, let me know what you think. Have you seen the Equalizer films? Feel free to let me know. So with that said, thanks for watching. Have a good one.